There's nothing like the magic of live music.
Music is one of those things that unifies everybody.
We are so very happy to be here with you tonight.
We were going to be heading over to the UK, and then we were going to go into Europe and do a bunch of festivals.
I just kept seeing 2020 as the year that was going to destroy 2019 and kill all the records.
We have a show on average every other night all year long. We've consistently been one of the top 5 most attended theaters in the country.
I just remember everything within like that 24 hours just canceled, and that was like the beginning of the end.
Most of us have poured our lives, our money, our time, our energy, our passions into entertaining.
Every day that passes, we're losing the chance to be able to save this industry.
I don't really know what a normal year is because my whole life has just kind of been this like progression of getting, busier and busier. But what I was hoping would be my normal, I guess, started last year when I was on the road almost constantly. I was touring with another band called Big Wild, playing bass. I went back to Europe back in, I guess it would have been January, February. It was about 6 weeks. I toured Denmark, Germany, Switzerland, the Netherlands, Austria, Italy, all over. And I got engaged in Copenhagen. That's when we started hearing about the virus getting more serious and traveling to different countries. And I just remember being with my tour manager, and we were in Germany and we were reading the news and we're like, oh my God, it's in Germany now. Like, it was just like following us, it felt like. And then it was in Italy, and we had just been in Italy. And that was just kind of like the beginning of that, like, oh my God, I think this is going to be bad. It was kind of insane, just like watching every single show just like vanish. And it was almost like, I remember in Portland, there was that weekend where everybody was kind of like hanging on by a thread. We were all like, okay, so I think the show's still gonna happen on Sunday, Saturday, but maybe we'll just wait and see. And then I just remember everything within like that 24 hours just canceled. I think in the beginning I was still kind of holding on to this hope that, it wasn't gonna be as bad. But once the reality hit, I was really depressed. That was like, I think it was just like this dark cloud just over both me and my fiance, and just kind of this like stark reality of how we were going to have to adjust to life with so many unknowns and absolutely no work remaining for me. I realized how much touring, it's such an adventure. You don't know what your days are going to look like necessarily. I miss the person that I am when I get to tour. Kind of like forces you to jump out of your shell.
All right, everybody, I want you to hold up your glass, cheers your neighbor, and say, I love you!
You meet so many amazing people. I think for me, it gave me a lot of purpose. So being stuck at home every day, knowing that there's no plan for me to head out on the road and do what I love and be in that energy.
Monday, you guys. I feel so tired today. So very sleepy. I slept great, and I just feel like I could go right back to sleep. But it was a great Thanksgiving. Oh my God. It was such a great Easter. Oh God, you guys.
I have really struggled through this time with my depression and anxiety, and that mental challenge can be really debilitating. And there's some days or weeks where I don't have it in me to try to plan. It's just you know, I've had conversations with my friends just being like, is this even worth it anymore? Like, what is the point? There's so much going on in the world that feels so much more important than my little career. Like, why does this even matter? So it's like, it's paired with just the, you know, the everything going on in the world and feeling like what you're doing doesn't matter, but also just like this impending doom of, will it ever be back to the way it was? I started grinding and trying to get my unemployment money, which was such a mess. And me, along with so many others, you know, had to wait months to receive anything. So I was more or less relying on my savings from that year prior. One of the first things I did was reach out to my, just kind of my base of students that I was teaching prior to being on the road. And I was just like, hey, I'm back. You want to do some Zoom lessons? And I knew that that was something that I could easily jump into, knowing that I could at least rely on that while I figured everything out. One of the things that came to surface was live streams.
We did it. We're here. We're live. I'm 20 minutes late, and I'm so sorry. I had some major technical difficulties.
And when you're doing a live stream by yourself in your basement or living room, it's hard not to be in that kind of like stressed out rehearsal mindset. I miss talking to people after shows and just having that back and forth of fan to artist. That's the toughest thing I think that we've lost. The beautiful part of all this, you know, my fiance and I started a garden in our tiny little backyard, which I was never much of a green thumb. I know that that's the thing that a lot of people did, and I think that's beautiful. I think we created like a little oasis in our backyard so that we had somewhere to go that was pretty and nice. And we got a puppy, a little golden retriever, COVID puppy.
Oh, what'd you do? What?
And so learning how to take care of another living thing in the midst of all this, and then also just like simply sitting in my living room with a candle lit and like my little lights on and just singing through some song ideas or just working on lyrics and just like having my space to just be like, all I have to do today is enjoy myself and my creativity. That's like all I have to do, nothing else. And I think it was hard to let myself do that before. I'm giving myself a lot of grace to move through my emotions and my feelings and my levels of inspiration, and I not judge myself if I'm having an off day. The main thing is to just appreciate where I'm at, even if it's like not where I am aspiring to be yet. Appreciating the little things, appreciating the nights I have with my fiance, not taking those for granted, appreciating just being able to cook dinner, you know, be at home and just be with my family. And I think that I'm gonna continue to allow myself more grace in taking time on things and maybe not feeling so rushed, because I realize that like the world can wait.
I mean, 2019 was a darn good year. And I just kept seeing 2020 as the year that was gonna make everything that we've ever done up to this year, up to 2019, which was a fabulous year. It was just gonna simply destroy it and kill all the records. And going into the year, I had 26 shows on my calendar, pre-booked for 2021. I had a new album coming out, something I haven't done before. It was just a dream of mine. And if you recall, I was saying to you that 2020 was a year we're finally all gonna see 2020 vision and see it clearly. And hindsight is 2020, no pun intended. But I will say that I guess we got our wish. It just didn't exactly turn out the way I expected it, but you know what? We all see a lot clearer now than we did before. You know, I kind of figured that this was somewhat serious because everyone I knew had kids that stopped going to school. So at that point, when the kids stopped going to school, little by little, all across the country, I said to myself, wow, this is like legit serious. I remember thinking to myself, it's gonna get serious, but how serious? It can't be that bad. Maybe in the next 90 days at most. Here we are, almost exactly a year later. And I just can't believe that we're still talking about this.
You guys ready? All right. Where are my beautiful Italians in this house?
It hurt a lot because I was so used to it. I mean, you gotta remember something, that I'm good for 25 to 40 shows a year. And to go into the year with 26 beforehand means I would have had 50 to 55 shows. So to start off with that, it would have been literally like it was when I was 19 years old, if not better. And people understand it more now. I mean, you're talking about almost a moment of depression, but not just for the people who got on stage, but for the people who used us as an outlet to just be somewhere else, find themselves in a place where they don't have to necessarily think of everything that's going on around them, because we all grew up together at the same time in different places, and we all went through the same things together. So the one thing that we had in common with each other that brought us together to escape everything that was going on in real life has been now taken away. And taken away to a point where you're wondering, is it ever going to come back? Is it ever going to be the same? When is it going to come back? How different is it going to be? And, you know, for me, I try to dig deep, and I'm always the kind of guy who always thinks positive. I try to uplift everybody around me. My life is all about trying to inspire people and make them feel better. But when you have the world on your shoulders and things are not going great, after a while, even the people who try their best to inspire, when they fall down harder than those who they've been inspiring. I actually got COVID. I got COVID in October. I had a little headache for the first day, little shoulder pain in the back, and I quarantined in the hotel for 10 days by myself. And then my son ended up getting it, my youngest son. And we spent the 2 weeks together in the hotel. And every day I prayed, and every day I took all my vitamins and my supplements just to ensure that anything I could possibly do to make this go away and not affect me, I did. I was so afraid of losing my voice. I was so afraid of this going into my lungs. I've had asthma since a kid, and I was very worried that I'd be that guy that, you know, doesn't end up well. I was free of symptoms after 48 hours. And I was just blessed. But I got to tell you, every day after those 48 hours, I wondered, is this next day going to be the day? Because I heard the week after that you get it, the second week is where that's when things start getting bad. And each day I would just count down and going, okay, am I over the hump yet? Am I over the hump yet? And I remember getting past the 9th day and saying, holy cow, I only got a couple more days and I'm good. I was so scared, but I was so thankful. I don't think I've ever been more thankful. Like you're thankful for a lot of things, but you know, like I spend so much time being thankful for others. I thank God and the universe for the blessings that I have for myself and for my family and for my successes and for all that stuff. But most of my time is spent pushing the blessings out for somebody else and praying for someone else. And for me to say, please don't let anything happen to me. This just means everything to me. And then this was like, what if I lose my voice? That would be the end. I would have nothing left. And that was a very depressing moment, but I stopped it.